make it happen. And it doesn't have to be perfect.
Yeah.
You don't have to be the first one to finish. If you're the last one to finish it, it doesn't matter. What matters is the memories you're able to walk away with.
I think we're all guilty of having that one thing that we really want to do, but we just keep telling ourselves that we'll get it done someday, and it just keeps getting postponed, or we just don't make the time for it. And so one of the things that we want to do is to help inspire you to really make that happen. So one of the things that we keep telling ourselves that we want to do someday is to complete a full trifecta in regard to the Spartan obstacle course races. And so they're basically these 5K, 10K, 20K races that have obstacles that you have to complete throughout the race. And here we are, and we're going to attempt to complete the full trifecta this year. So let's go ahead and get right into this, and we'll see you on the race course. Here we are on the starting line. So I see the first obstacle. Any tips on getting over the walls?
Right when you run, you plant your foot and use that leverage of planting to hoist you up, unless you're short. Then you need a buddy.
There you go. One leg after the other. Okay, so we're about to hit the second obstacle, and one of the misconceptions that a lot of people have with Spartan races are that you have to kind of go at it alone. But if you're going with friends or family, or you just have a team with you, there's nothing wrong with giving each other help getting over certain obstacles. This one, the inverted wall, might be one of those obstacles that if you haven't trained for it, or you might lack the upper body strength to get yourself over it, there's no shame in getting some help from your friends.
You put grease on there.
Are you gonna do your burpees? Yeah, you gonna be legit today?
So when you don't complete an obstacle, you have to do 30 burpees.
29. 28.
I'll switch you.
All right.
So when you do it with a team, your teammate can split the burpees with you. I did 10, he's gonna do 20, because I couldn't complete the obstacle. I don't have that long of a wingspan, man.
Okay, so that's 30 between us.
That's 30 between us.
And one of the volunteers just said, if you didn't want to do the burpees, you can do the penalty loop instead, which is just a longer distance compared to the regular trail. Okay, so I think there's 3 or 4 ways you can tackle barbed wire, which is what's next. One, you can kind of you can roll, but it kind of depends on the terrain. If it's softer terrain, you can get away with rolling if you don't mind the motion sickness. You can do the sideways crawl, or you can do more of a military crawl, or you can just crawl on your hands and knees. Good job. Where you get low. A vertical challenge for the vertically challenged.
I'm 5'4". This is going to be really difficult for me to do. There's a chance I might be able to do it alone, but then there's a chance that I probably won't be able to do it alone. So Chris will have to give me a boost. He can do it because he's not vertically challenged, where I am.
There you go, almost. There you go. Like a pro. Get that bell, babe. See why I hit you in the face.
I know, I was like, bam! I'm like, oh, my face.
Easy, huh?
Yeah. I don't know if we're halfway through the race. I don't know. We hit the 3-mile mark. It's hotter today than I expected. Be mindful of the clothes you wear. Here's a tip. Check the weather. And remember, let's say, for example, the high is 68. And you think, oh, God, that's cold. It might be cold if you're sitting on your butt doing nothing.
Or if you're Californian like us.
But when you start running and you start doing it and you're in the direct sun, it gets hot. So be mindful of your clothes.
I think we slightly overdressed. All right, babe. You have to promise me one thing. No monkeying around. There you go.
Okay, so what are your 3 tips?
Okay, so Johnny's essential 3 as far as like gear was water, fuel, and
Clothes.
So I was going to be a little bit more specific. So water, the easiest way for us to carry water instead of having water bottles or having something strapped to you is just a camel pack type of backpack that is comfortable and preferably that has pockets, because like Johnny mentioned, you want to carry some kind of fuel with you. And so what we found really useful is, one, mustard packets. Works really good to reduce the amount of cramping that you'll have throughout the race. Gels we really like because it's something that you can like ingest really quickly.
Gels.
You don't have to chew it, you don't have to prepare it, it's not bulky, so it's light enough for you to carry around, and you can carry around a few of them, especially if you have a longer race. But to have some kind of fuel with you. And clothing, I think the most important thing is have something that will
don't wear
something
cotton.
That, yeah, because if you wear cotton and you go through a dunk wall, or you go through some mud pits and you're wet, if you have cotton, that doesn't dry out very well, especially if you have socks. And so look into getting some
waterproof socks, I guess they're called.
Maybe OCR, like obstacle course race type of footwear and sockwear, and you'll really be thankful for it, especially if you end up getting wet early on in the race, and you won't have those squishy socks and feet for the entire race.
That's just gross.
There you go.
There you go. Hit it.
There you go. There you go.
I think I lost his finger.
Uh-oh. More or less. Look out for that branch. Oh man, what a hook.
There you go. There it is.
You got this, babe. What should somebody do who has never done a race like this before do in preparation for it?
Focus on your cardio, being able to run, build up your endurance, grip training, grip strength, and upper body. A lot of the obstacle courses require upper body strength, so I would focus on upper body, grip, and your endurance.
And so cardio and some type of strength training.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If it's a 5K, it's not as essential for a lot of endurance, but you might want to focus maybe more on strength training, because regardless of the length of the race, the weights are pretty much going to be the same. If you do plan on doing the obstacles of these races, definitely want to incorporate some kind of strength training into your regimen. There you go.
Alright, there you go.
7 miles into the race, 2 hours, 42 minutes. You got the slip wall, the Hercules hoist, and the A-frame over there.
It's okay. I don't think you ripped the skin off.
Okay, there's the finish line. Oop, just try not to block the lens here. Here we go, let's go. Let's go.
That's what I'm talking about.
Thanks, man. One thing to note, I did mention this earlier about the mustard packets. Probably 4 or 5 people that we were walked by. Yeah, we rescued quite a few people because they were just suffering from leg cramps, and that's something that I think a lot of people underestimate when you do a race of that duration for the first time.
You know, it's just one of those things that you don't think about. You think of, okay, I need water and I need shoes and, you know, I need to, you know, put my hair back, but you don't think of the fatigue that races like this have on your body. And if, you know, you're doing a long race or even a short race, your muscles will just, they'll cramp up, and you got to have something to kind of help get you through it. We're coming up on him, and I looked at him kind of funny, and he's got his team with him, and he's just like kind of hollering out a little bit because his calf went and like cramped up really bad. And Chris is like, hold on, and we gave him a couple mustard packets, and he looked at us like, what are you doing? I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, this will help. And his buddy's like, it's true, man, it's true. Take the mustard, take the mustard. And I think rumor got around by all the different people we were helping that we were the ones on this race who had the mustard packets.
Oh yeah, we brought like 40 or 50 of them.
People would like run up to us, hey, can I bum a mustard packet off of you? And we were like, oh sure. So we were handing out mustard packets like crazy.
Yeah.
But you just kind of do them in intervals. You don't wait until it's too late and then do it. You're gonna want to kind of do it beforehand.
Yeah, and the same thing goes with fueling and hydration. Like, that's something that you want to get ahead of. You don't want to wait until it's too late and you're getting lightheaded, or you pass out, or you bonk out, or whatever. You want to make sure that you're hydrated, you're fueled, and you don't have that muscle fatigue, or worst case scenario where you have those muscle cramps. The one thing that I would have done differently today is probably would have brought gloves. Because if you do a lot of training, you tend to have a lot of hand calluses, and it's not as much of a big deal, but we haven't done as much training in that regard. And so there's a lot of bars, there's a lot of ropes, and there's a lot of pulling, and you know, the cargo nets and everything. And so when you do so many obstacles over such a long race, your hands get really raw. And so the mistake I made was that I went ahead and went for it, but I got about halfway up and my hands, I knew I couldn't bring it up, and I didn't have the strength to keep my hands closed, and so I ended up getting really bad rope burn from that. And so one thing that I would change is I would probably bring gloves, maybe not use them the whole race, but at least bring them. So if I ever get to that point where my hands are just raw and I don't want to split my hands or have blisters or have that rope burn experience, then I would be able to have them on me. So one of the things that we always say is that it's better to have it and not need it than need it and not have it. And that was one of the things that I wish I would have brought with me, were a pair of gloves.
One of the things I noticed with some of the racers was they had KT tape, and before the race started they were taping up their problematic muscles in their joints. I saw a few guys who were taping up their knees, other people were taping up their calves. And so if that's something you're into, it's one of those things that you can do beforehand, before the race starts. You can tape yourself up. I had a lot of people coming up to me who were first timers, who they were like, hey, so have you done this before? I'm like, oh yeah, so it's no big deal. And they're like, yeah, how long does it take you to do these races? I said, that depends on the person.
Yeah,
I said, for
sure.
some, they could run this in 2 hours or less. I said, for others, it takes them 4. I said, it just kind of depends on you. I said, if I was to guesstimate, I'd say if you ran at a nice pace, about 3 hours, you could do it without like pushing yourself to the extreme.
And sometimes it's not just the distance, sometimes it's how many people are there. And so there was a couple instances during our race today where we had to wait in line for quite a while in order to do an obstacle. I think that happened at the A-frame, where there was a line of maybe 30 or 40 people, and we had to wait about 20 minutes, I think,
that other one,
to just do the obstacle itself. And so that's something to consider too. That your race might be longer than you anticipate. And one thing that we want to mention too is that if this is your first time, you know, when you look into it or you read about it on the website, you may think that, oh man, like if I miss an obstacle, I have to do 30 burpees, or I have to attempt every single obstacle. And if you're just doing it for fun, and you don't have to do it. The race is what you make it. And so if you go with a group of people, and maybe this is your first time, or maybe this is something that you set yourself as a goal to achieve, so you can maybe get into better shape or live a more healthy lifestyle, then really enjoy the race. And so this happened with the sprint that we did back in December with your dad. And so your dad's about 60 years old right now, and he was a little overweight during the race, but it's something that he was working towards and he was really excited about. And so that's something that we really love about these kinds of events, because it's something that you can really get excited about and something you could train for. And we met a few people today that was the case. That one woman that was having the muscle cramps, she was like, oh yeah, I lost 50 pounds. There's a couple of to run this race.
They lost 50 pounds to run this race, and that's great. You know?
That's kind of what we're all about. Like, we really think that you should kind of make time for the things that you want to do and be. And don't let that someday always continually be postponed into the future, and just, oh, someday I would like to do this, or someday I would like to do that. You know, start taking those small steps and start making that someday today.
Make it happen. And it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to be the first one to finish, and maybe it doesn't go the way you think it's gonna go, but that's okay. You walk away and you take your memories with you. And that's what counts.
Absolutely.
The memories you walk away with is what counts. You know, it doesn't matter if you couldn't do the obstacles. It doesn't matter if you couldn't finish it. If you're the last one to finish it, it doesn't matter. What matters is the memories you're able to walk away with.
Okay, I really hope I press record because it'd be really sad if I didn't.
Yeah, I don't think I could say it all again.
Okay, cool. It was recording.